Hello and welcome to another ramble. We are looking at IEB May 2024 paper 2. Question 5. In the diagram, triangle ABC is given. D is a point on AB and E is a point on AC, so that DE is parallel to BC. Right. There's a theorem about that, right? Right? If these are parallel, then these are being divided in proportion or something like that. Anyway, don't quote me. BE and DC intersect at T. Good. DE is 8 centimeters. Oh my goodness, we have to fill this in ourselves. Tragedy. Yeah, this is how you know the paper's heating up now. Now you got to fill things in yourself. Right? Okie dokie. So DE is 8 centimeters. Okay. And DT is 4 centimeters. ET is 6 centimeters. TC is 7 centimeters. Okay, right. And then we're asked to prove, where am I? Prove that triangle DET is similar to CBT. Okay, so this is a classic zigzag situation. Alternate angles are equal, alternate angles are equal, vertically opposite angles are equal. So nice marks there. So in amen in triangle DET and triangle CBT, angle this guy EDT is equal to this guy, angle TCB, because alternate angles, the parallel lines being DE and BC. Then this angle DET is equal to this angle, TBC. Also because of alternate angles on the same parallel lines. And then finally, this angle, we have to start on the other triangle. Angle DTE is equal to this angle, angle BTC. And you could just say third angle for that, or vertically opposite angles is also a valid reason. And so therefore, triangle DET is indeed similar to triangle CBT. And the reason is angle, angle, angle. Right. And very important to keep the order. Okay. Good. And so forward we go with this result. I'm just going to... Yay. What happened there? Oh, nothing. Just going to add that as a side note there. Right, and then we can take this to the next question. Right. This is kind of hidden. Just put it there. We are asked to find BC plus BT. Okay, and we're going to use our similarity to figure that out, because we have the lengths of all the sides over here. So then we know, we can then figure out, okay, and we have one length in this triangle, so we can figure out the proportion relationship between these two. Like, are the sides in this triangle double the ones in this triangle? Like, what's the relationship? And to do that, we're going to set up our proportion statement. So DE over CB is equal to ET over BT is equal to DT over CT. And what are we interested in? We are just interested in BT and BC, which is this guy. So I'll just stick with these ones. Wait, what do we have? We have all the ones at the top, DE, ET, DT, and then we only have TC for the bottom triangle. So unfortunately, we have to use all the ratios. Oh well, LOL. So 8 over CB or BC is equal to 6 over BT is equal to 4 over CT, which is 7. So now we know that the ratio between the sides is 4 to 7. So then we can work out BC first, I guess. So 8 over BC is equal to 4 over 7. We could do a whole long equation solving here, or we can just notice that 4 times 2 gives me 8. So 7 times 2 will give me BC. So 4 times 2 gives me 8. So this is just using equivalent fractions, you know. So BC will be equal to 14 centimeters. And then to work out BT, so we have 6 over BT is equal to 4 over 7. So some of you might be able to straight away see that 4 times 1.5 is 6. So then you could do the same to work out BT. But we can also just use cross multiplication, right? So 6 times 7 is equal to 4 times BT. And then from there we can divide by 4 on both sides. And so BT works out to be 42 over 4, which is 10.5 centimeters. And so BC plus BT would be equal to 14 plus 10.5, which would be 24.5 centimeters. Right, I don't know if we're going to need all of that information for the next question. I'll just fill in the length that we found, because maybe that might come in handy, who knows. So we found that BT was 10.5 centimeters and BC was 14 centimeters. Right, so off we go to the last part of this question. Oh, it is raining outside. Such a beautiful sound. AD to DB is the ratio that we are curious about. And we know that this ratio gives us that hint. This ratio is the ratio between this side and the whole of this side. Yeah, do I have to do the whole spiel of proving that they are similar? Yeah. Let me see how many marks it is to get a hint. I'm using context clues that you would otherwise have. Okay, I see they do give a lot of space for a 3-mark question. So I think it is suggesting that it's going to be a lot of work, but not a lot of important work. So I'm going to go right ahead indeed and say, prove that these are similar. And this is also another classic similar triangle shape. You've got the common angle there, and then you've got the corresponding angles. So that's also a nice good shape to always look out for. So in triangle ADE and triangle ABC, A is common to both triangles, and then this angle ADE is equal to that angle, which is ABC, because corresponding angles on the beautiful parallel lines that we were given. And then this angle AED is equal to this angle, which you can just call C. Actually, it's not an ambiguous angle, but anyway, ACB are equal because they are also corresponding angles on parallel lines. Right. And so we therefore prove that, triangle ADE is similar to triangle ABC. And the reason again is angle. Right. And so this tells us that AD over AB is equal to AE over AC is equal to DE over BC. And I forgot to write this for the previous question, but this is because I don't know if you have to write the reason even though you're literally stating it right after you prove the similarity. But anyway, right. And what we are interested in is the relationship between AD and DB. This gives us the relationship between AD and AB. So we will take that. So we're into that. And then this is the one that's going to give us the numbers, DE and BC. So I'm just going to ignore the one in the middle because we don't really need it. So AD over AB is then equal to 8 over 14. Right. And so what that means is the ratio between AD and DB, if the ratio between these two is 8 to 14, okay, so if this is an 8 part and this whole thing is 14 parts, then it makes sense that this part is 6 parts, right? So 8 parts, 14 parts, 6 parts. And I speak in terms of parts because we don't actually know how long AD and DB are. We don't know. We don't have enough information to work that out. I don't think so. I don't think we do. But we do know that, AD makes up 8 out of 14 of AB, and so DB must be the remaining 6 out of 14. So the ratio between them would be 8 to 6, which we can simplify to 4 to 3. And that is that on that. Let's have a look at the memo. Oh, I'm busy burping cheese. It's such an uncomfortable feeling. Right, so we proved the similarity using the alternate angles and the vertically opposite angles. All is well. Next up, we use the... we do not use what I thought we were going to use. Triangles sides in prop. So we have DE over BC, right, is equal to DT over CT. DT over CT. Okay, so yeah, I had that too. And in that way, we find that BC is 14 centimeters. Oh, okay, they just split it up. And then we do ET over BT is equal to DT over CT. Okay, I understand. And we then find that BT is equal to 10 and a half. And if we add them together, we get 24 and a half. All right, perfecto. Forward we go. Next up, they do indeed start by proving that the two triangles are similar, but they just say equiangular. They just say equiangular. They don't go through this whole schlep. I don't know. I don't know if hey, I think you do still have to write the schlep, guys. I think you do have to prove. It won't be worth many marks, but I don't know if you can just rock up and say equiangular and that's that on that. I don't know. Anyway, but so the memo begins. These are the disadvantages of having been a teacher for so many years and never actually gone and done marking, exam marking. Aye. Opportunities lost. Anyway, and then from there they set up this statement and we use that to find the ratio between AD and AB, which is indeed 8 to 14 or 4 to 7. And then we deduce from there that the ratio between AD and DB must be 4 to 3. Right. Happiness, fantastic. That's that on that. I'm not going to ramble any further. I rest my case.